On this episode of The View from Jamestown, we recap the guys' trip to India. We talk about prices and demand maybe hitting a floor and potentially ticking back up, oil prices staying relatively flat, and a couple trade shows coming up for the next couple months. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 91. This is the June 2023 edition, and we are sitting down with the full team this morning. We got TCC President Robb Roach, Inside Sales Manager Nicole Greenberg, VP of Sales and Marketing AJ Petrarca, and Latin American Operations Manager Javier Fernandez.
Good morning, Benny.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, everybody.
Javi's been working until at least 4 p.m., so I remembered his title this time.
Yes. I've been working overtime lately.
OT. What's happening? How are you guys?
Doing well.
Good.
It's like you turned a new leaf after India. Maybe you didn't get readjusted to the time change.
No. I'm still getting adjusted.
Yeah, his watch is still in India time, so he's all confused over there. What's going on?
Not much.
Lot
for Nicole. He was up late last night.
Kids, man, I swear.
What happened?
Well, so, puppies. They've got the sharp teeth. So, of course, my oldest son is, gets home from school like, oh, hey, Ella, this is great. She slices his ear with her tooth. And
Oh, my God.
yeah, so, of course, my husband's like, oh, I bandaged it up. It's all good. So I get home, I'm like, you bandaged it up. I'm like, that thing is like, we got to go to the hospital.
Gushing blood.
No, it didn't look pretty. So, and of course, we had the
You
first
got super glue. Super glue works.
Well, yeah. So I'm glad he didn't go that route because who knows what would have been in there with it. But no, I mean, thank God we had that first aid recertification yesterday too, because I was already on it.
What the
Did
heck
the
is this?
ABCs.
It's like meant to be.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly. So next year I'll remember that, and I'll just
Yeah, but how much did Jack? You missed the part where Jack probably tormented Ella for 12
Oh,
minutes.
of course. I mean,
before,
you know, kids. It's like they're like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden they get a little scratch. It's like, oh my gosh. And you're like, come on, you did it
Ella's
to yourself.
chocolate lab.
Yeah, she's chocolate
Baby,
lab.
young.
Oh yeah, 14 weeks. She is full of spunk and spice, and reminds me a bit of
sharp
myself.
teeth.
Yeah, sharp teeth.
Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of myself as a child. So
Yeah, Nicole lives in a consistent state of chaos.
you know what?
Thrives in chaos.
I thrive. It's weird. The silence is just weird to me. I mean, you guys are refreshing though. You're a refreshing breath of air when I come into the office and everything. So gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Well, it is early June. We're recording this. You guys are fresh. Well, maybe not freshly back, but back from APIC in India. Sounded like a good trip.
It was a really good trip. We had a lot of good meetings. The APIC wasn't as well attended. I don't think as I expected. There wasn't really any folks from China there. I guess they had, they were having trouble getting visas for whatever reason. But we had a lot of great meetings, a lot of optimism amongst folks in India about their economy and how well they're doing. So it was encouraging to see that because there's not a lot of optimism elsewhere in the world at the moment. But I think it was a successful
It's
trip.
really good. Following up on things. So yeah, things are. Quotes are coming in.
How's the to-do list today?
That's not that bad today. It's okay. I got a lot of stuff done yesterday.
Good. So you're going back next month for family vacation, I heard?
Yeah, maybe a different location within India.
I love how you had to think about that.
But yeah, it sounded like a good time. You guys obviously did a little sightseeing as well. We had that picture in the view of you guys all TCC logoed out at the Taj Mahal.
Yep, our last day there, we got to make the trip to the Taj Mahal, 4-hour by car each way, and it was about 115 F outside. So we had, we did the Taj Mahal experience.
Yeah,
yep.
I mean, it was worth the drive for sure.
It was amazing to see. It was amazing to see, and really amazing to see.
We had a tour guide and everything. It was really good. It was really good.
Nice. Well, I guess kind of looking at work stuff. How would you describe the chemical industry these days and business in general?
Sleepy, quiet. Yeah, sleepy. Yeah. What was I was reading a report the other day, and they had a great description of. It was like something like completely dead. This was in China. It was a description of not even lifeless is what it was, and I would say the U.S. Domestically here, we're not lifeless, but it's quiet, and there is just a throng of options out there from Europe and from China and other Asia, and because they're really doing horrible. You know, I mean, and China is really, really, really off. And even with 25% tariff and duty and all the costs, there's still an opportunity to buy. But as a company, we're very, very concerned about buying from China because of, you know, the labor practice piece of it and the Uyghurs, and we've had containers stopped. And so there's also people that are rerouting everything around the port of LA. And so there's a lot of like build up in other places, but you know, demand is so slow. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of like maintenances, shutdowns, and that's going to turn into, you know, rationalization soon. So, so that's going to be the next wave. But I would say on a micro level, May was better than April. So we were sort of in a degradation mode, and then all of a sudden it's turned around, and June looks pretty strong. So domestically things are picking up a little bit, you know. So, but there is just that European and Asian, you know, offers of ridiculously low pricing, but people really aren't buying so much here either. So
yeah,
the domestics are defending, you know.
Yeah, that was one of the things I had in my notes is kind of maybe it seems like demand has sort of flattened out. It doesn't seem like it's still on the decrease anymore. Like obviously things are a bit slow, but like you said, with orders picking up a little bit, like, you know, maybe we've kind of reached the bottom and things are maybe on the upswing. I know you were talking a little bit about maybe packaged products doing a bit better than bulk products and some of the things we're looking at these days. Yeah,
we've definitely seen an uptick, I think, in LTL inquiries lately, which is kind of refreshing because I think that was something we saw during COVID, where a lot of people relied on having safety stock on the floor, and now we're really seeing those opportunities come to fruition where some of the smaller business opportunities have really started to just come out of the woodwork and, you know, pick up. And, you know, it might not be every month, it might be once a quarter, but it's still, you know, consistent. So yeah, it's nice to see that actually be solid.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking, I think, at one point too about people maybe just being nervous to buy. Like, you know, during COVID, people were buying everything they get their hands on because stuff was, you know, supply was so difficult, and that may be a factor. Maybe people looking at totes and drums rather than filling up bulk tanks. You know, people are just hesitant to commit to too much material type of thing.
Definitely. Inventories are low, you know, and they're going to go lower. It's funny to hear everybody talk. Everybody's all gravelly from the Canadian wildfire stuff. It's like,
now you say that, I kind of noticed that listening to my own self-talk.
Yeah, man, allergies are really bad.
It's so smoky outside, you don't really notice it unless you look at sunrise or sunset. Yeah. It's so smoky out. And AJ says, well, we're talking to a friend it's raining like crazy up in Canada. Like, why are we still getting smoke if it's raining? It's so smoky outside.
Did you see those pictures yesterday of, I think it was Yankee Stadium in New York? Apparently right now the air quality in New York is worse than it is in Delhi, which is
really?
a comparison I'm sure you can appreciate. Yeah, it's crazy. It looks like it's just like the whole stadium's on fire.
Wow. Well, I know even at like the kids' school field day and everything that they have coming up at the end of the year, they've postponed that because of the air quality.
Yeah, today.
Same. Today's bad.
Yeah, that was Yankee Stadium yesterday.
Jeez.
Like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Like it should be, you know, beautiful.
Oh my
and sunny.
Lanta.
Looks like doomsday.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you can see this, but maybe we'll put it up later. But yeah, you know, crazy.
It is. Yeah, when's it going to stop? Because yeah, you're right. Now that you say it, we all kind of sound the same, but because we hear each other so much.
Just started noticing it yesterday. Yeah. And, you know, when we were doing our CPR first aid review, that was like the first time I sort of noticed whenever anybody talked, they were like gravelly. And I'm like, and today I'm like, oh my God, I feel like like in a casino, like a smoker in a casino or something. I don't even smoke.
Well, there's some stat they said like with the air quality right now, spending 24 hours outside is the equivalent of smoking 6 cigarettes.
Wow.
That's how they, I guess, how the in the air stuff in the. I don't know if we swear on this podcast.
That's first. Keep that in. Let's roll with it.
I was gonna say, yeah.
We're gonna have the parental advisory sticker now.
You just opened up a Pandora's box. I'm gonna have foul mouth from now on.
We need some kind of like air horn noise to bleep that out. Yeah. So coming back from India, and then obviously now connecting with your Latin American customers and suppliers, how are things south of the border these days?
A little bit quiet, but still the demand's still consistent, so that makes me happy.
Yep.
So, but still, the opportunities are still there, so we just have to push and look for them, you know. And every order is getting harder and harder. You know, we're not throwing prices anymore. we're fighting for every order. So it's challenging. It's challenging for sure, but that's what we're here for.
People aren't just, you're not getting orders just because they're not paying the Javi tax.
No,
you gotta cut back on the Javi tax a little bit.
just being nice, just myself doesn't do it.
Doesn't cut anymore.
doesn't cut it anymore. It helps. It helps the sales process, but
Sure.
yeah. I mean, the end goal is sell.
Yeah.
What's on me?
There you go. Did I hear you're heading south of the border at some point here soon?
Yes, at the end of the month, AJ and myself again, as angels.
You and your boss?
Me and my boss, AJ Petrarca, will be in Mexico for some planned visits for our amigos over there
Nice.
from different companies. So yeah, I'm looking. It's going to be a full week. The schedule is firming up, so looking forward to be there.
Very nice.
That's why you're here until 4 p.m. every
Yes.
day now. You're filling your schedule up. That's awesome.
Yes.
It makes me feel good that your boss is paying attention to your professional development.
Yes.
This is really good. This is really good.
Yes.
Javi's there talking Spanish and Asia's just there nodding like, yes.
No, everyone's bilingual. So.
Everybody speaks English. I'm the only idiot that's unilingual.
I mean, I'm sure you're catching on.
I am catching on. I can understand a lot of it now at this point, but I can't speak it.
Thinking about some industry stuff. I know we've kind of been keeping an eye on what oil's doing. Seems like it's been largely flat. I guess Saudi Arabia was announcing potential cuts starting in July. So seeing what may happen with that. And I think just a way of maybe kind of stopping some of the free fall on some of the oil pricing and maybe trying to push oil pricing back up a bit, sounds like.
Yeah, they're trying. It's come up a little bit from the 60s to the low 70s and Brent in the mid 70s. And it's probably going to go higher by July is what they're saying. Stock market's been doing very well lately, boosted by AI. So all the tech stocks have been doing really well, and generally it's been doing okay. And usually that knows before we do. Hopefully it looks like the Fed in soon probably won't adjust interest rates or might just slightly again. It might be the last. But there's just so many like mixed things out there going on right now. Like we're being pressured. We're seeing pricing so low we haven't seen for 5, 6, 7 years. At the same time, you go to the supermarket and you walk out with 2 bags of food and it's $400. People are starting to get really anxious about this, so the inflation is sort of getting trapped in service industry and things like that now, and that's created a lot of jobs because people are still vacationing, still traveling. But at some point, it's gonna change, and people are gonna stop going out, stop traveling. It's just getting so ridiculously expensive, and
yeah, flights are crazy. Like every flight I look at it's $1,000. No matter like a little domestic, flight that used to be $300 is now $900.
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't even make sense.
I mean, even hotels. We were paying half the price for hotels, 3-4 years ago than we are now. So it's, there's just these pockets where inflation just won't give up, or the companies that are, managing those things won't give up on their high prices. But, I saw a post the other day where somebody said, if you don't lower your prices, we're just going to start stealing stuff. It's like, that's how extreme it's getting. People are really starting to get frustrated,
Yeah. Yeah, and Saudi Arabia is also making waves in the golf world. We saw yesterday. This is also now a golf podcast in addition to swearing on the podcast. All kinds of firsts today. That'll be interesting to see the whole sport washing thing. It's kind of crazy to watch.
Yeah, who saw that coming?
Nobody, literally nobody. Abby sent it to me. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, you saw a fake thing on Twitter. Like
that's when when your wife is sending you the latest and greatest golf news. That's
crazy.
That's something.
Along with, I guess, what oil has been doing, fuel surcharges have been coming off, which is good news too. I think we're down to like the 30% range, right?
In the U.S., Canada's still up in 50. 50s. I think it's 50 right now from Canada, but yeah, it's coming down a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like both line hauls and freights come down a bit, or the surcharges at least.
Yeah. We're talking to the guys at TLC. It seems like some lanes have actually bottomed out and started to tick up a little bit. I think, they'll probably talk more about that, but, starting to see a little bit of uptick on line hauls lately.
We had a shocking thing happen overnight where one of our rail partners came to us and lowered their costs for rail services, and that's a first in a long time. Yeah,
that's not a good sign.
That's
right?
not a really good sign at all. I mean, it just goes to show that And we've put several rail cars out of service. Luckily we've been able to had some come out of service and we put them into service elsewhere. But we've had several rail cars come out of service because the line haul for 4 trucks is cheaper than what we're doing in rail freight. So that's a dynamic that is going to continue for a while, and that's helping the truckers a little bit, but that just goes that, as AJ said, it's not a good sign whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, that's a good transition into having the folks from TLC come on and talk about all these things and more. So we'll give it over to TLC for a freight and logistics update. Good morning, Jameson. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben.
We're going, I figured I'd get a Benjamin back. We're going formal today.
Benjamin.
Does anybody else call you Jameson? Because I know you don't like it. Aside from me and Ray.
That's my name. I like it. We got a nice mix.
Yeah. Keep you on your toes.
Straighten you up a little bit.
Yeah. Proper. Well, good morning, guys. How you guys doing? How's everything going?
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going.
Hoping the smoke from all these crazy fires up in Canada doesn't make its way down here, but
it's crazy. We were just on the TCC side. Robb was talking about it, and he's like, you can hear it in your voices, and I didn't really realize it until I'm hearing myself talk in my head. Like you feel kind of like allergies and stuff
nasally,
like that.
yeah.
I don't know.
Wild.
You don't buy it?
That sounds a little psychosomatic or something there.
Couldn't possibly be the pollen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross. It's gross one way or another. But it is early June. It is finally starting to feel like summertime. How's I guess starting with you, Joe? How's stuff going on the sales side, customers? How's the world of selling freight these days?
It's definitely still pretty challenging. I mean, stuff is pretty wide open out there. We're looking at it as a great opportunity to really start selling TLC to our carriers, new carriers, constantly vetting, whether it's warehousing, new rail contacts,
Sure.
whatever it might be, looking at this as an opportunity to really, deepen our bench of offerings. So really getting out there in that regard. Spot market is basically nil at this point. I think a lot of the contracted side we're seeing is very strong. So looking to hopefully pick that up Q3, Q4. We're all kind of knocking on wood as much as possible, but yeah, that's kind of our main focus right now.
What does that mean when you say the contracted side is strong? Like people are looking at?
So any contracted freight that you might have with your carriers, a lot of, customers are going direct to carriers and saying, hey, I have these volumes,
yeah.
What can you offer me in contracted rates? So 21, 22, we were seeing the spot market thrive. Do you have a truck? Do you have any way to get this there?
Sure.
Contracted rates at that point were null and void. It didn't matter. You were looking just to get your product to wherever it needed to go. So we're now in the more contracted realm, and it's from a shipper standpoint, pretty great. You're getting better rates. You can revisit your contracts and say, hey, what else can we get?
Yeah.
But from the spot side, that a lot of the 3PLs and small to medium businesses kind of operate in, that's kind of a challenge right now.
Sure. Well, I know one thing you guys focus on is obviously diversifying your offering and what you guys do.
Always.
And I know the transloading piece has been big for you guys. I think just being flexible and nimble and something that a lot of companies may not want to go down the rabbit hole of doing, because obviously there's all kinds of intricacies that come into it. But Jamie, I know it's something obviously you spend a lot of time overseeing and working on, whether it's just repackaging from rail cars to tank trucks or some of the more intricate repackaging jobs you guys do. But I know it's a big focus for you and has been popular these days, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, we did run into, quite a few packaging opportunities and things like that when things were actually tighter as well. Just from, when there's limited supply, people trying to, divvy up those allocations a little bit more. But I mean, definitely it's something that, we're looking at now as well and trying, diversify. And, as Joe was talking about, reaching out to different vendors and things like that. That's a lot of what we do right now.
Sure.
When the sales side, comes down a little bit, then, we diversify, we try and get more contacts and try and build back up because it's going to turn around. We all know it will. Mm-hmm. So the best way we can position ourselves to move forward is really to diversify as much as possible, build up those portfolios, and then, hopefully hit the ground running.
Yeah. You guys seen an uptick and stuff like that? People trying to get creative with packaging and repackaging and
Yeah.
Things along those lines. A lot of, I'm gonna take this a firm yes.
Yeah. I honestly, I think there's, some of our contacts have reached out, whether they might be a little long in product and they're looking to, kind of repackage some of the orders that they had allocated for orders that might have since been canceled, kind of placing them in different regions to, when things do open back up, can, start flooding the market and capitalize and honestly shore up some losses more than anything. Because if they've got product stateside, whether it came in or not, looking for different ways to, maximize that.
Yeah. And I mean, the other big thing that we're looking at is, I mean, as Joe talked about, with the spot market, really going down, that, brings down pricing along with everything else.
Sure.
And part of what's happened with that is really the truck rates have fallen so much faster than like the rail rates can, for instance.
Yeah.
So while some of the rail lines are, we're getting, much more positive feedback than we have in recent years, just because of how they operate as monopolies and they just kind of give you the pricing and you go with it.
Yeah.
We have gotten a lot more, willingness to be competitive from many of them.
Sure.
But I mean, that's something where there's still, like with everything with rail and just the larger companies, larger lead times, all that, it still just takes so much more time for them to adjust that the truck rates and the truck markets just undercut them altogether. So it's really, looking with different companies trying to figure out how we can be more flexible, how we can, really take advantage of, your direct rail car may not be the best price for you right now. You may be better off taking it in by totes, taking it in by bulk tanker, various other forms.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, honestly, that's what separates TLC from so many other 3PLs. Is we have that deep bench of offerings that we can advise and help you forecast. Forecasting is the most difficult position many salesmen are in, right? So that's something that we can help kind of take that off their plate.
Obviously, it's all good and great that maybe some of those contract discussions are coming back up. People are relooking at that stuff, but obviously, there's plenty of companies and businesses that aren't contracted, don't want to be contracted, don't have the volumes to have a contracted rate necessarily. And obviously, that's where folks like you guys come in and can obviously find the best deal to move that freight for them. So
yeah, I think the economic space we're in right now, everyone's searching for new opportunities, right? So from a volume standpoint, maybe it's not quite there. That's why I think from a spot versus contract, we still operate in a largely spot, space, but we're helping to, get some inroads for a lot of different customers and end users.
Well, speaking of trying to find new opportunities, the two of you guys will be, I believe, traveling here soon.
Savannah bound, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Chem and Agro show down in Savannah. So first time Jamie and I will be exhibiting down there. TLC's attended for the past couple of years now, but first time we're actually going to be having our own.
I think first time at any show with a booth space, right? Or have you done one before?
No, we've done a couple in the past, but this will definitely be the first one here.
Yeah, it's a good show. We're always excited to be there and have gone for a long time. The attendance looks strong. I think last I looked at it, this was like a week or two ago, but there was like 1,300 plus people. So always a good one.
Yeah.
And cool that you guys have a booth space for the first time.
Absolutely. Putting our best sales people outward facing.
That's a compliment for you, Jamie.
I mean, I've been added to sales. That's
effective immediately.
I mean, my first time on the road at a show to begin with. I mean, obviously gone on visits to various customers and various suppliers, just more from the operations standpoint. But yeah, definitely good to be on the road and
it's a good show.
Have that
too.
Experience.
Yeah,
they do a really nice job, so it'll be a good one.
Any final words, thoughts, comments on the freight market these days? Wise words of advice?
Bring any and all opportunities. I think this is the time to explore. Whatever might be out there. We're happy to take a look. Jamie and I love quoting everything, and we certainly have more time now than we did this time last year. So there's no reason we can't assist in anything at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Good catching up with you. We'll see you in Savannah here in a couple weeks. Absolutely. And we'll catch you on the next podcast episode.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, moving on. Product updates, demand, seasonality of things. Obviously, we're early June, which isn't, I guess, technically quite summer yet, although it kind of feels like summer some of these days. What's What are the hot new products, hot seasonal products we're pushing these days? Javi, anything new you're working on over there? What are we?
We're we're working with the citric acid and the citrates, plasticizer, citric acid based esters. So yeah, we're partnering with a company, Sucral, out of Colombia, and yeah, things are shaping up. We have samples on the way and approvals, and we're gonna meet with them at the IFT, which is coming up in July. Yeah, things are good.
Yeah, they gave a good presentation. It was interesting learning more about them and the product lines they have. They're obviously a well-integrated producer and
non-GMO
partner for us. Yeah,
non-GMO, all the certifications. So yeah, they're a good company. They're a good company to work with.
What else is new in the product?
Seasonally, there's quite a bit of intermediates that are going into things like UPR. Paints are doing well in Latin America. This is really when they do produce a lot of paints and do a lot of painting. If you've ever been anywhere in Latin America, they love their colors and they love painting concrete and everything. I mean, it's beautiful colors. They really enjoy, coating things down there. So that's been doing pretty well. Overall, summer's a little slower, but we had such a dormant spring. It's nice to see things picking up a little bit, so you're seeing, like I said, some of the intermediates, some of the solvents are doing okay. Surprisingly, methanol was very good for us last month, which is usually a seasonal winter season type product. But that goes to show that it's going into coatings and things like that, other applications. So the alcohols have been doing pretty good to go into surfactants. And then, even some of the plasticizers, specialty plasticizers are doing pretty well because that's sort of like a highlight right now in vinyl is specialty applications, wire and cable and things like that. So there's been a lot of we've been doing a lot of sampling of some new products and looking to improve performance of the polymer with some of these new products and create lower cost and better performing polymers. So that's kind of what's been popping lately.
Yeah, the paint thing was interesting. I think you guys were just talking about it last time you were down in Mexico, how it was an interesting point. Like they paint everything. Most stuff is concrete, and then they paint it.
Yeah, there's not many billboards.
Yeah, here we have billboards and vinyl signs. There they just paint every building with advertisements, and it's everything's painted down there. Everything's stucco and concrete, and
right. Even buildings are concrete and houses, and they just paint them rather than having colored vinyl and stuff like that.
Yes.
It was interesting.
Yeah, there's no siding. No, like we have it here. Yeah, just paint.
What you said there were there was a couple main paint producers and there's 500 small ones or something like that, right? Wasn't there some
300
fact like that?
Yeah, I think there was 3 main ones and then 220 small ones that make up the bottom 5% of the market, or something like that in Mexico. There's a lot of small producers, a lot of small paint producers down there.
Which is crazy. I mean, I don't know how many there are in the U.S., but I'm sure it's not 303 or whatever it is. It's kind of crazy.
I'm sure there's a lot of just guys in their garage mixing things up to
right.
throw on the wall. But
well, thinking about raw materials and pricing, obviously, I think demand is still driving a lot of prices down, regardless of the fact that energies are coming down. But obviously everything on the decrease, I think, is pushing things further down. I mean, benzene came down good 30-40 cents the last month or so. Ammonia has been coming off. Oil mostly flat, but seeing some of these other products and indicators coming down, kind of pushing things further down as well.
Demand driven, and it really is lackluster demand.
Yeah.
And we've got oversupply of a lot of things. I mean, we've been building out capacities based on the shale gas and our own energy independence for years and an export market, which is just not there. So there's the good news is when you hit these lows, there's a long way up.
Yep.
So we're very confident that that's going to come at some point. There's still some interest rate hikes that are going to happen in Europe and things. So they're kind of in that mode that we were in through the spring and last year. And they're going to be coming out of that as well. So I'm confident, and I've read a lot of reports that looking at Q3, Q4 starting to pick up a little bit. And what's happening is right now we're seeing the LTL demand and those, the short time deliveries. People don't want inventory. Well, they're going to get caught with low inventory, and then people are going to rationalize, and then there's going to be less product available. So I think that, by the end of the year and then next year, we should see things start to recuperate a little bit pricing wise and volume wise.
Yeah, it's been interesting. The stock market's kind of consistently trended up. I think you mentioned tech stocks before. So we kind of keep on these notes kind of what the stock market's done the last 30 days. So the Dow's up about 150 points, but the NASDAQ's up like 1,200 points. Yeah. So it's been interesting with the whole tech stuff coming
We've
back.
been having a lot of AI discussions around here, and it is, it's hyped up a lot right now, and there's not so much need for that hype, and scaring us and things like that. It is something we have to pay attention to, and we're going to be utilizing it here at TCC for different things, and we're excited to see it implemented into our software systems. And the future of AI is not all bad. And, so yeah, I mean, when AI came out, it was a good time to invest in tech stocks, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, because they've really had an amazing run over the last few months.
Yeah, I can see Zach back there shaking with excitement. He's he's ready.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, when you talk to Zach and he starts saying that AI is sentient, that's a little concerning, which it has human likeness and its own personality building and stuff like that. That's a little outlandish, but hey, I don't know. He's said crazier shit that's been true. So yeah, I gotta swear in there too. So.
The U.S. dollar has also been improving a little bit against the euro. It's interesting to think about. So this time last year we went to Italy, and I think the U.S. dollar was better. So it was like,
oh yeah,
it was
97.
Yeah, it was like opposite. It was like 95 or 96.
It's $1.07 now.
$1.07.
Yeah, $1.07 euro. Yeah, it's
which I think was like $1.09, $1.10 last time.
We got through the debt ceiling crisis and injected trillions into our debt, and we came out of a pandemic. We had unbelievable upheaval in the markets, in our own personal lives and everything, and the government's trying for a soft landing as best as they can.
Yep.
And we haven't hit the bottom in a recession, thankfully. It's been last year and most of this year so far has been a slowdown, but they are doing their best to control a horrendous crash, which we're seeing in other countries. I mean, China has had a horrendous crash. This is the number 2 economy in the world now is faltering, So, I'm not definitely don't want to get into politics. I don't want to say they're doing a good or a bad job. They're just doing what they can. And, we also have an upcoming, campaign season, in a year from November, an election. So they're going to do their best to prop up our economy the best they can. So it's going to be interesting times.
Very much so. Trade shows, conferences, events kind of coming into a quieter time, which I think is always welcomed. The next one coming up is the Chemicals America, which I think is one of my favorite ones we do in a year. It'll be the first time we do it in Savannah, normally in Charleston. But we'll have a booth down there, which I'm looking forward to.
Yep, we got a booth down there. We have a lot of meetings set up. I think we're pretty close to booked for lunches and dinners at this point. But any other times, let us know, and we'll get together for a coffee or a meeting.
Yeah, well, that's always a good one too, because it's such a, I think, tightly compacted show. Like, you see so many people on the show floor. I think you leave that show with kind of, you have a lot of conversations, even just casual conversations, get a really good feeling for what people are talking about, kind of what the general like trend with everybody is. Like AFPM, you kind of get that, but it's more like, you have 8-hour-long meetings in a day versus here you have 45-minute conversations plus lunches and stuff. It's kind of cool leaving that one. You get a good feel for how people think, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite ones as well. It's fun, but you get so much out of it at the same time. So it flies by.
Yep.
It does.
We have the Southwestern Fertilizer Conference coming up in Denver in July. Speaking of getting meetings booked up, AJ has filled up my inbox with meeting invites. George, we got to talk about my email inbox because I'm out of space with all the meetings AJ's booked.
You can get started anytime.
I'm working on it. I got one. One more than Corey got set up, right?
It's an important one too.
See? That'll be my first time with that one. Looking forward to that. I know it's one you and Corey have done for a long time, and always have a good time.
Yeah, that's a great show. It's very different than a lot of the chemical shows because it is very fertilizer centric. Like, these guys are paying attention to different indicators like the prices of corn and soy and things like that, and they're making decisions based around that. So it's fun to talk that side and learn learn that different side. But that'll be a good one.
Yep. IFT. I think Javi, you mentioned that'll be, I think, our first time at the IFT.
Second
time.
Yeah, we'll be in Chicago. We'll be July
17th, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll be there. Nicole and I will be there.
Yep, we'll be walking that show. We already have meetings set up, so thank you to Javi. I know, look at this efficiency.
Guys working over here.
It's a new me. It's a
Yeah,
new me.
it is. And Javi, you're gonna have to start staying till 4:30.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can.
And then starting to think about EPCA, crazy as it is in the fall.
Yeah, Vienna. Yep. Getting there.
Flights, I guess, will be cheaper, right? The dollar keeps coming down. Well,
I'm waiting. I haven't booked yet.
you always wait until the last minute. You stress me out. Oh.
Yeah, I know. Well, you guys book like 2 years in advance. I mean, I like mentioned I was going to EPCA a few months ago. I was like, she goes and books me at EPCA, but I mean,
don't loop us in with Nicole. Nicole's on her own planning island here.
You try, right? Hey.
But yeah, that'll be it'll be good to get back into EPCA and get over there and see all our partners.
Yep. Some TCC news, kind of wrapping things up. We've got a new sales addition to our team, which is exciting.
Yeah, Luan Huberman, and we should start getting him, into shows and things like that. Get some experience, get out there. Should include him.
He's coming to Savannah with us.
That's great.
So
That's
he'll
great.
be Chemicals America. Everyone can see him, meet him, and say hey, welcome him to the crew.
And we've got more potential salespeople in the pipeline, so it's great. We're investing. We're investing back into our sales, and right now focused on that. And you all are doing a great job in bringing in new people and getting out there. And that's what you got to do. You got to hustle when times are slow, and you guys are hustling. So
yeah, I thought about having Luan come join the podcast, even just to say hello, but we'll give him a month. I spared him.
Maybe next time he can just watch,
Yeah.
he might. He's a little shy, but he comes out of his shell eventually. But bright kid, and happy to have him on board.
Yeah, very much so. And we're just coming out of our sales meeting, which was a good time.
Yeah.
A lot of good virtual producing partners and presentations and internal meetings and whatnot. We also surprised our good friend Robb with a video the last night.
Yeah, that was crazy. I had no idea at all that was coming, and then I also didn't realize that these guys were filming my reaction as I was watching it. So
we can play it. We'll play a little, maybe without the audio, but we'll put a little bit here so the viewers can see it. It came together really, really nice.
It was overwhelming. Yeah, it was really nice, and thanks to you all and everybody that said kind words, and thanks to the people that didn't say such kind words to you too. But it was all in all, it was funny. And I didn't expect that to happen whatsoever.
Well, I think that sort of wraps things up. I don't know if there's anything else. Any final words, Javi? I'm gonna get a final. Let's get a final thought from each of you.
I'm gonna stay until 4:30 today.
Oh wow!
What a day!
There we go. That's commitment.
Yes.
I'll stay until 4:30 with you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So you're leaving early, is what you're telling me. Cool.
So I'll piggyback off what Javi usually says. Send the POs.
Yeah.
Please
Send the
send the
POs.
POs. And we're willing to meet competitors at all our products, and give us a second chance if we're not there. We're willing to compete. I just want to say that. And I will leave early, actually. I'm gonna leave early today. Now
that you said that, I'm gonna say that. That's a brilliant comment. I'm gonna stay till 3:30 today. I think. I might stay till 3:30 today. So
we're setting a bad example for Luan. He's gonna be here by himself every day.
You gotta pay your dues, man. You gotta pay your dues.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, we all did, and still are. It's like it's a nonstop thing. You gotta pay your dues.
Yeah, when we get emails from Nicole at 2 a.m.,
Well, that's what, you're at the hospital. What else are you going to do? You're waiting for him to stitch your kid up.
Well, it's either that or you get overwhelmed and you just can't even sleep. I've had that stage in my career where I would wake up in the middle of the night just like, oh my God, and just start getting to work and get on the computer. And it's like, at that point, you're like, that's when things started to have to be spread out. So, yeah, I mean, either your kid's ears getting bit off by the puppy or you're feeling overwhelmed. Getting up in the middle of the night is never a good thing. But it is tough right now when, we talk to other distributors and other friends in the business, and a producer the other day, I said, so, this is a producer who's been sold out for years. I said, how's things going? It's a disaster. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's bad, you know? So we're in a position where, yeah, we've got some excess inventory, some high price inventory, but other people are producing every day at really high prices and unable to sell this stuff. So
Yep.
watch for those little cracks to start widening and things to happen. That's my prediction.
Well, I think on the podcast side of things, we'll have Kathy Hall come on sometime between now and the next TCC podcast. So we'll have her Q3 update. I think she's planning on coming back up here. So we'll have her here in person and get that episode out there. But other than that, I think that kind of wraps things up.
It does.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Benny.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Benny.
Well, thank
Thanks,
you as
Benny.
always for listening, whether you're on the audio version or the video version on the website. But we appreciate for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for streaming the View from Jamestown podcast edition.
Like and subscribe for more.